Chivalry 2 is a game where you throw turkeys at people, hit people over the heads with chairs, decapitate and delimb people who can then headbutt you in retaliation, and where you can roleplay as a Spanish mother and beat a man to death with a sandal for not finishing his homework on time. Is this game worth a purchase? With my 2,500 hours in Chivalry 1, 1,000 hours in Mordhau, and approaching 3,000 hours in Chivalry 2, I gotta say yes. If anything I said before didn't convince you, perhaps being able to throw watermelons at people on horseback in the new Tenosia Invasion update coming on June 12th with the Steam release will convince you. If you tried Chivalry 1 and Mordhau, you might be a bit intimidated due to the incredibly high skill ceiling those games appear to have, and the insurmountable challenge that these high-level players may offer to you, crushing and decimating everybody in their path. It pleases me to say that Chivalry 2 has the lowest skill floor in the entire genre's history. Those demigod players are still there and they're still hungry for your flesh, but if you keep yourself focused and use even 2% of your brain power, there is a solution. High-level players are addicted to running into a crowd of people and trying to win a 12v1. I should know, this is 90% of my playtime, and because of this, your best chance is to work with your team and just stab the person to death. This game rewards teamwork and rewards you for grouping up on that really good player. A good player is incredibly dangerous, but with proper positioning and proper patience, you can surely whittle him down, especially compared to a game like Mordhau, where new players might as well be renamed to health kits, as every time a high-level player one-shots one of these health kits, they appropriately regain health and stamina, making everyone else's lives harder. If you've already tried Mordhau for longer than 5 minutes, allow me to try and make some comparisons. Chivalry 2 does not feature playable instruments or the ability to customize your class, but what it does offer is great maps, voice acting, way better jokes, and better combat. It allows you to take it seriously or not care, because you just came home on the weekend after working 50 hours of mandatory overtime and you want to drink a 12-pack of the cheapest beer you could find at the gas station and behead everybody in your path, friend or foe. If you are one of the many nerds like myself, the game also has a substantial skill ceiling, but I have to warn you, this game wants you dead. Archers will gun you down, and you will have a player with 20 minutes of experience spam the slash button to his heart's content because he does not care about any of your mix-ups or any of your tricks. He does not care how good you are, he wants you dead, and you will be dead if you don't learn how to defeat the caveman in front of you. If you were worried about the player numbers of Chivalry 2, I'm happy to inform you that this game is cross-platform between 5 platforms, being the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox 2, and PC. Chivalry 2 has been on the Epic Game Store since last June of 2021, and on June 12th on Steam. Given that Chivalry 2 holds a monopoly over this genre on consoles, I do not expect the player count to ever dry up anytime soon. Not like the declining player count of some other game in this genre, controlled largely by some guy who does a lot of coke and challenges people to 1v1s in Mountain Blade.
I destroy you in fucking Warband so fast and you rage quit. You know why? Because that game is more
Angry
consistent.
German kid.
Okay, let's go now in Warband.
Random go, man.
Let's go now in Warband.
Slash
2-1.
that fucking blatant auto blocking, man.
What?
It's so fucking obvious.
Are you accusing me of hacks? Seriously? Are you seriously doing this?
I'm not accusing, I know.
You're stupid, man.
Man!
Chivalry 2 features rather in-depth combat and innovates the genre from where it previously was held back the most, with significantly more combat options and more free-form expression. The game is not bound to binary blocking and attacking to almost turn-based combat like you'll see in Chivalry 1 and Mordhau, which is an absolute blessing. No longer is the best strategy to make your attack appear like you're having a seizure. You no longer need to solve the Da Vinci Code in order to defend yourself from an attack. If Chivalry 2's combat seems a bit too complex, all you really have to know is that most people are going to spam the slash button. If you slash back at them, they're likely going to defend themselves from it, when all you really have to do is stab an overhead. This can and will defeat nearly every player in the game, even if that player has significantly more time than you do. Chivalry 2, as stated before, has some of the most visually impressive maps I've seen in the genre, and the newest ones coming out with the Tenosian Invasion, specifically Axandir, are absolutely gorgeous. These maps are a spectacle, and they offer a lot of immersive gameplay and make you really feel like you're raiding a castle. If atmosphere was the challenge, they nailed it. Along with these maps, Chivalry 2 largely features Team Objective as their mainstay game mode to go with these maps, which is an asymmetrical game mode featuring one team attacking and one team defending. This allows for very cinematic pushes through the maps and gives a really good sense of scale when you and 63 other players are bunched into the same place and more than half of them are that same bushlight warrior we mentioned before. Shoot catapults, ballistas, light people on fire, drop traps on people's heads. A worthy sacrifice. Light a chicken on fire and use it as a bludgeon. pick up anchors, blow up ships, destroy castle gates, and even try to survive as a peasant going about their daily life, usually revolved around farming and being beheaded for simply having the nerve to breathe the same air as a nobleman. Team Objective tries to offer you as much of a medieval experience as you'd hope, and if Team Objective isn't your thing, you can find 1v1 and 3v3 arena game modes, free-for-all, last team standing, team deathmatch, several open-ended duel servers, and even a limited time game mode called Brawl, which exclusively features players who use anything in the room to assault your other patrons. This includes bottles, flutes, candelabras, and chairs. Personally, I want to see Chivalry 2 steal Battlefield Conquest's game mode, or a King of the Hill type game mode. Team Deathmatch can go fuck itself. For its audio design, Chivalry 2 brings back its series veteran, Ryan Buckley, who voice acts the most iconic character in the franchise.
Your virginity breeds mates, much like a cheese.
He was the sole audio designer of Age of Chivalry, the source mod before Chivalry 1. He was the audio designer of Chivalry 1, as well as the composer and a voice actor, and he returns in Chivalry 2 to make sure every sound effect has a satisfying crunch to it. Ryan Buckley also wrote all the dialogue that the voice actors say out loud. I'm not sure I can name another game where smashing a man over the head with a chair can be so satisfying. Chivalry 2 has also featured impressive post-launch support for content, adding new weapons that feel distinct from each other, gorgeous maps that are even wonderful to look at after the 100th time. Every update is free, and so far they haven't charged any money for any of this stuff, especially not any cosmetics, not like a certain other game. Everything in-game can be purchased with in-game currency, and believe me, it really isn't that hard to get. Even if you want a competitive experience out of this game, you can be happy knowing that if you did want to compete, unlike Mordhau, Tornbanner actually supports their competitive scene, and has even offered money to these prize pools of these community-ran events. As it stands, there have been 2 major duel tournaments since launch, and Tornbanner has offered $500 for both events, totaling to $1,000 for community-run duel tournaments.
A huge double feint overhead drag. Oh my god!
We can actually compare this directly to Mordhau, which, if we show this graph really quick, you'll see that Mordhau has offered a grand total of $0 to any of these competitive events, despite the game being marketed as a competitive type of game. These 2 competitive events in Chivalry 2 have had prize pools of $700 and $1,000. The game has a very good skill ceiling, and at the very least, it's way healthier than anything Mordhau is going to have in its entire existence. Chivalry 2, however, is not a perfect game. For example, Chivalry 2 currently features no mod support, and we can only hope that it's not far in the future. It is filled with a ton of bugs, and the servers are hosted on several wired-together Nokia phones from the late 1990s. These bugs can range from hilarious to frustrating, depending on your mood. Archers exist, and despite what Reddit will tell you, are in a very poor spot. Archers are incredibly powerful demigods, capable of destroying anyone from anywhere on the map, provided they can aim. And your only saving grace is that there's a limit of 6, and many of these archers are actually bushlight warriors who don't even know how to block with their melee weapon, or even know that they have one. But the occasional try-hard archer is a vicious creature, dubious in nature, and will take every opportunity to make you angry, to brag and boast about how good they are. And if you dare to try and strike back at him, will dedicate all of his time to making sure that you can't play the game, shooting you and you specifically for the rest of his time playing this game. Archers are incredibly powerful and have no actual counterplay or weaknesses. Shields do exist, and you can block arrows with them, but that implies you aren't doing anything else, because doing anything other than holding up your shield will leave you entirely vulnerable to arrows. Even if you run all the way across the map and did manage to decapitate an archer, take it from one of the best archer players that I know, who says that the first thing I do after I'm killed is respawn 5 seconds later and shoot the person who just killed me. Don't take anything I said as too negative, however. This game is a treat, and provided you give it the time to learn and how to play it, there's a lot of fun to be had. Even if a parasite archer tries to ruin your time, you can ignore it and take pride that you just killed 3 people with a sandal, or you punched a man's head off while riding on horseback, or you caved in a man's skull with a turkey. Check this out. Wow! Oh my god! I'm the best! Let loose and enjoy yourself. If you liked this video, consider subscribing. You can always unsubscribe later. Consider coming by my Twitch. I stream 5 days a week, and I upload videos daily. It would mean a lot. And it would also mean a lot if you liked this video and commented, because the YouTube algorithm really enjoys that kind of stuff. And it also really likes if you watch until the very end of the video.